The amethyst twilight, thunderous sky, staring at the rain, I let out a sigh, loaded with fear, despair, and pain. I think of the long moonless night that awaits as we shoot towards the crescendo of death and devastation, worrying about our fates, hopelessly hoping this crisis at once abates, in an atmosphere of helplessness, fury, blaming, and frustration. When a microscopic monster took over mankind, brought lockdowns that kept even the nomads confined, when the word positive has become too negative, with a frantic frenzy over what is fake and what is effective. And despite the disruption and daily distressing headlines, the world goes on with meetings, targets, and deadlines. As we trade our sensitivity to somehow save our sanity, numbly scroll through the images of cemeteries and graveyard, as we witness the best and the worst of humanity, each of us braving and enduring, but forever scarred. I search for the shreds of tranquility in this noisy bedlam, compelled to part ways. When or if we'll meet next, no way to know. I surrender to the thought that inevitably had to come. I'm doing my best, but so did they. What if I die tomorrow? I've never been closer to this nightmare of mine. Dying is a statistic, or let's be realistic. There's worse, being left unnumbered. I look back to reflect and contemplate, hoping that I did fine, tempted to wonder, how would I be remembered? I think of the knots left untangled, the untied loose ends, things left unachieved, undone, unspoken to family and friends. My heart sinks to think about my near and dear ones, yet I also find satisfaction that I've had some good runs. If I die tonight, you may never get to see my face, but imagine one with a tender smile, for I have created a small place in some hearts that would not be easy to replace, safeguarded my self-respect, and did my best to lead a life worthwhile. If I die tonight, know that I fought till my last breath. I was brave in the face of death. Know that there still was an unshaken faith left in me. My head and heart were in a harmony. My closed eyes are full of dreams to be continued in the next phase of my journey. I endured patiently and strived hard for what I aspired. I had begun to live. I learned to love. I was loved. I was admired. I had touched some lives I too had inspired. Under the amethyst twilight sky, I now see saffron strokes and a golden glow. I'm reminded of the dawn that shall rise, regardless of how slow. These are not the futile man-made world wars, but quite the opposite. I cherish the world getting united against the virus to fight it. The volunteers giving their all at the front line are a much bigger force than the black marketeers and the counterfeiters devouring the sick for profit. This is only the first calamity of my life, but not for the world. And remind myself of the history, how many such events have unfurled, and always the humanity got through and stabilized, learned to adapt, the world revolutionized. This divine intervention has given many learnings, how wealth is much different from our earnings. I now know to wish health before success, acknowledge everyone being in their own battles, even if they don't express. I have been bewildered by selfish ignorance, covidists, and denialists, seen how creating a vaccine was easier than convincing the folks who resist. I've learned that regrets come only from the things we never try, and when overwhelmed, it's a blessing to be able to cry. I redefined our heroes to anyone who volunteers when the situation demands. I realized the value of leadership and the task of nation rebuilding at our hands. And while at work I struggle to maintain the pre-COVID efficiency, I now admire kindness over smartness and embrace the virtue of self-sufficiency. And once we do better in the unending fight for survival, I intend to celebrate the revival and rebuild, be a part of healing, and relentlessly pursue the goals unfulfilled. So, if I survive, I choose to see the light. I choose to be the light. I choose to bring colors in this gray till it gets bright. I promise to not to miss any sunrise and continue to exercise, adhere to the age-old advice. Pessimism is an unaffordable price. For now, I embrace life as it comes, treasure moments as much as I can gather, and relish a long, deep breath, and the next, and another.